Hey guys, happy day 3. Welcome. I'll give you guys a second to tune in. And I know there's a slight delay, so I'll wait for that as well. But welcome to day 3. How are you guys doing? How's the challenge going so far? Are you guys learning a little bit of something about yourselves? Yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys are feeling, how either today's practice went or yesterday or wherever you're at. Just chime in and say hi. Awesome. Well, we'll dig in while I wait to see if you guys, how you're doing. Hey, Stacy. Hey, Jason. All right. So let's see. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the most important things that I think that we can do in an effort to make change in our lives and create healthy habits. And that's to overcome our limiting beliefs. So I'm going to share my slides. If you guys can give me a thumbs up. All right, so Jason, thank you for sharing the link for everyone. And awesome. Well, Stacy, the worksheets are there for you to catch up on whenever you can. But they are an important part, so I do recommend at least at some point going through them. But I get it. There's a lot involved here. So I'm glad you're enjoying the Facebook Lives and the practices. All right, so if someone can give me a thumbs up, let me know if you can see my screen, my slides, that would be awesome. All right. I'm going to take that as a yes, unless I hear otherwise, that you guys can see the slides. Good. Thanks, Jace. All right. So digging in, limiting beliefs. So what exactly is a limiting belief? The simplest way to describe it is a limiting belief is something that you believe about yourself and that you tell yourself constantly that limits your ability to live up to your full potential. I'm sure that is a rather broad statement, but if you pause for a moment and think about it, I think you could probably think of one or two things that you tell yourself. So there's a difference here between a limiting belief and a boundary. And so these boundaries are different than the boundaries we talked about yesterday. But for example, telling yourself that you're not strong or that you're not good or that you're overweight or you are ugly or whatever belief that you tell yourself is different. Those are limiting beliefs. However, acknowledging if you've had an injury and that it makes something like a back bend difficult or impossible for you, that's different. That's a boundary. That's understanding something that's a limitation that's real versus a limitation that is manifested. So actually, that reminds me of a limiting belief that I've struggled with a lot, and actually in my yoga career. So for a long time, I thought to myself, like, how could I actually be a yoga teacher when I can't do a lot of these postures? So for those of you who don't know this about me, I have 2 rods and 6 screws in my back. I struggle with flexibility because of that. So my lower back doesn't actually bend. I also sit at a desk for a living, so I've got tight hamstrings. But yeah, so in my mind, yoga teachers had to be Gumby, right? You had to be super bendy and super flexible. And who was I to teach yoga when I couldn't even do a forward fold without my knees bent? But once I realized that this limitation is actually an asset, I can be a stronger yoga teacher because I've experienced what I've experienced with my back and its limitations. And also that yoga is, the postures are such a minute part of what yoga is actually about. I was actually able to let this go. I was able to release that and obviously go on to become a yoga teacher and be here teaching you guys. So limiting beliefs can be overcome, but we all have them and they're all unique to us. So these limiting beliefs can run your life and actually eventually ruin it if you're not careful, if you don't tune in and realize that what you're thinking about yourself is in fact a limiting belief. reinforced in our minds by samskaras. So remember on day 1 that we talked about those subtle impressions in the mind? Well, that thought pattern, those unhealthy habits, the unhealthy way that we talk to ourselves and do things, they reinforce all of these limiting beliefs. So our habits, or these samskaras, may have served us at some point in our lives. You know, they might have actually had a real purpose, but recognizing that they no longer do is what we're working on today. So identifying our limiting beliefs and recognizing that they no longer serve us. So if we speak to ourselves in a negative way, you know, or we're critical of ourselves and are just really downright mean to ourselves, this is a samskara. And this samskara has to be broken. We have to replace that with healthy mind talk and a healthy mindset and just healthy habits in general. So overcoming our limiting beliefs requires us to let go of our ego a little and to accept our limitations and move in order to move past them, and then really no longer see them as limitations. So similar to what I just described with my back, like, yes, that is a limitation. It's also a boundary, but realizing that it's not a limitation, it's actually something that could make me a stronger teacher because I know how to make adjustments for things like lower back pain and tight hamstrings, and not seeing them as a limitation and seeing them as an asset. So a great place to start on a personal level for this, tying in yoga, is when you're on the mat. So next time you're taking class, it could be in today's practice. Today's practice is challenging. So instead of focusing on what the posture should look like, try to focus on what the posture should feel like, embodying it in that respect, taking away the goal of having a perfect down dog or getting your knees to touch your forehead in a forward fold. You know, just kind of absorbing what it should feel like and embodying the practice. So the physical practice of yoga can help us process this by allowing us to see our normal reactions to challenging situations in a controlled and safe environment. So from there, we can start to make different choices when necessary. And as we accomplish these changes on the mat, so example being, you know, your forward fold doesn't look like this picture, maybe your knees are bent, maybe your, you know, hands are on blocks. So as we accomplish changes and acceptance on our mat, we can bring these changes and acceptance into our lives off of the mat. So our logical brains, they understand that these limiting beliefs aren't true, that they're lies. Our logical brains know that. But in times of doubt or stress or fatigue, what happens is our ego gives into these beliefs and gives them power. And that power keeps us, it's there to keep us safe and in check, but it really fuels the lies, it fuels the limiting beliefs. So understanding this is what's going to allow you to break through and create the change that you desire in your life. So that's what our exercise is about today, which I'll get to in a second. But really, when we can sit in our own skin and in our own minds and wholeheartedly and truly believe that we are perfect just as we are, and that we will be worthy no matter what we do or don't do, this is when the true healing can begin. This is when the space opens up for all the things that you want in your life, and true change can happen. So, another little quote for you guys: yoga can help restore the connection between the mind and the body. It frees us from the ego's powerful control, destroying limited beliefs with every mindful breath. So really, that's my focus here for you guys, is that connection between the mind and body. And that's what yoga does for us. It allows us to pause and breathe into what we're doing, notice how we're feeling, tying self-awareness that we talked about on day 1 into creating space by setting boundaries and then shedding the limiting beliefs. So I've shared another worksheet with you guys in the group. It's designed to help you identify and release your limiting beliefs. Let me come back over here so you can see my face. So I want you guys to work on this worksheet. It's probably one of the more challenging worksheets that I've provided. I want you to do it, and I want you to do it a couple times, not this week, but the first part is identifying your limiting beliefs, listing them out. And then you're going to choose one that you're ready to break through, that you're ready to release and move past. And so for that reason, I want you to come back to that list, because there's more than one. We all have more than one. And I want you to continue to work through them. So there's an exercise laid out after you create your list that'll help you kind of work through that. But be gentle on yourself while you're doing this. So the past couple of days have been pretty intense. I know we're doing a lot of self-discovery and self-inquiry here. So I just want you to tune in here and not push yourself, not putting pressure on yourself to get through this. If things start to come up and that feels like you're on the edge of something that you don't want to go to, then just put it down and come back to it later. But if you can work through it and process it, even a tiny bit, any little bit will help. So just be with whatever comes up. And of course, you are more than welcome to reach out to me if you need support on something or want to talk through something, or reach out to the group here as a whole for support. But yeah, this is the third day of pretty intense stuff. And then we move into some other stuff about creating habits. But we really needed to clear all of the junk out. In one of my videos I made promoting the challenge, I talked about how healthy habits aren't about, eating salads and drinking smoothies and depriving yourself of all the things that you love in life. But healthy habits are about what we can layer into our lives to make us better and stronger and more fulfilled. And in order to have that and to be able to do that, we need to create space. So we tune in with our light of self-awareness, which is what we talked about first. We create space and set boundaries so that there's a place in our lives, physically, emotionally, and mentally, for those things to come on. And then we get rid of the stuff that's no longer serving us, which is what these limiting beliefs are. It's what our practice, the physical asana I built for you today, is designed to do. It's a twisting practice. It's wringing out the body. It's squeezing and then releasing and letting the new flow in. So hopefully that all makes sense. And you're feeling some of that as you're processing through these worksheets and these practices. But that's my goal. Tomorrow we've got daily routine. So we're moving into a little bit lighter topic, but still super important, especially in establishing habits. So let me know if you guys have any questions before we hop off in the chat. I'll be happy to talk to you guys a little bit more here. And yeah, has anyone done the practice for today? Curious what you guys think. All right. Well, guys, until tomorrow, I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday. Great. Jason hasn't done it yet, but he's excited to try. Awesome. Yes. But I will leave you today. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you online tomorrow, 1 o'clock, and we'll talk about daily routine. All right, guys, chat soon.